Hello and welcome to Bowl Fast Talk Straight. On a day where in Campo it's been relatively hot, very difficult to score runs and bat on spinners. Climbed in, but in Ashington, the northeast, while I've got the beanie hat on, we've had the big storm that's hit the northeast of England. Half of the fence is gone, tree next door's gone. But over the next sort of 5-10 minutes, I'll answer your questions on what has been a good day for India. Well, where do we start? We start right at the top. India looking as though they're needing to get back into the test match. 129 for none overnight. I thought Tom Latham and Will Young yesterday batted absolutely brilliantly. And it was so important that, top order runs against India. And we showed that when we highlighted that, when England were in India just recently, that if you lose top order runs, top order wickets, then it puts the middle order under so much pressure. And it was important that New Zealand carried on this morning, and they did, largely down to a little bit of luck. I thought the DRS decisions went in the favour of in New Zealand's favour. I thought some of the umpiring was questionable, and Nita Mellon had a little bit of a disagreement with Ravi Ashwin, which I'll come on to in a little bit. But Will Young carried off where he went from last night, managed to get himself to 89, then nicked one behind, a fantastic catch by the young wicketkeeper on as a substitute for Saha. Saha was struggling with a stiff neck. And I thought that was a fantastic catch by Bharat and behind the sticks. So, that's when India got going. But then there was a little bit of controversy. Ravi Ashwin seems to be stubborn character. When the pressure gets on, he fights back. That's what I love about him. He's one of the best spin bowlers in the world. But because he was running across the umpire, he wasn't doing anything wrong legally. He was getting inside the five foot mark. So he was running right when he was let go in the ball. He was running. His follow through was going across the stumps, and he was more or less ending up in a position where he would be if he was bowling over the wicket, but he was actually bowling around the wicket. And I think that got up the nose of Nita Mellon. And there was an LBW, which was a perfect ball, typical Ravi Ashwin. Ball onto middle in leg, spun back in, got on and straightened, and everybody appealed. Ashwin this is out in his eyes. But unfortunately, because he had a massive argument with the umpire, Nita Mellon, I think this was the umpire putting two fingers up to Ravi Ashwin and saying, well, if you want the decision, you're going to have to review it. India had already burnt one of the reviews. I think the umpire's thinking, well, you've run across me, so I couldn't really see what's been going on so many times. And between a very inexperienced, a wicketkeeper that hasn't played test match cricket, an inexperienced captain, they decided not to go for another review because at the time, New Zealand are only 1 wicket down. And that, for me, is what's cost them having a 100-plus run lead. Umpire said not out. They weren't prepared to burn another review, which I was surprised because I thought even if they did review, it would be umpire's call, which would have kept it. And all that being the case, Ravi Ashwin, as petulance, didn't get the wicket. India didn't review it. And all of a sudden, bang, Tom Latham is still there. And he's carrying on with his innings. He batted brilliantly for me, batted fantastically well. Got himself to 95 off 282 balls. And that, along with Will Young, 89 off 214 balls, was the mainstay of the New Zealand batting unit. Lunchtime coming, 3 balls to go. Kane Williamson, he's out. And that, for me, changed the context of where New Zealand were in the game. Because I think if New Zealand go into lunchtime with their captain not out, Tom Latham going well, all of a sudden India are scratching their heads. Yeah, where do we go from here? They looked as though they're getting a little bit frustrated. As it happens, 3 balls before lunch, they get the New Zealand captain. They come out with a spring in their step, and all of a sudden they just blow the middle order away. Ross Taylor goes. Henry Nicholls looked all at sea. Then Tom Blundell played an innings, which I can't quite get my head around what he was trying to do. played French cricket for a long period of time, just blocked it and blocked it and blocked it. In 13 off 94 balls, I think it was it 83 dots in that. And I thought he just digged a hole which got deeper and deeper for New Zealand, which they couldn't get out of. And I think that the continuity of their innings, trying to get closer to India's 3-4-5, was something I think that would have been a better way to go. Kyle Jamieson got 23 at the end, blasted a few. But I think all in all, New Zealand were probably 25 runs, 30 runs short than they should have been for the overs that they batted. And I think that was largely down to Tom Blundell having a little bit of a brain fade in the middle period of the day. Excuse me. India's bowlers, well, Axar Patel, what a fantastic spell of bowling he did. I think the reason why he was as good as what he bowled 34 overs, bowled fantastically well, and bowled 5 for 62. For me, he was the pick of the bowlers because he used the angles very, very well. When he bowled over the wicket, left arm over the wicket to the left-handers, he bowled either really tight to the stumps, which then, with the ball going on, turning back in, made the ball go stump to stump, or he would come wider and just sort of throw it in there. He mixed his pace up very, very well. And when he bowled around the wicket, he would bowl from a lot wider to create the angle, which meant the batsman coming forward had to feel as though they played. And then all of a sudden, a little bit of sharp turn and the ball goes away and it conduced to pick the outside edge. And I think that was the one he got Ross Taylor with. Absolute beauty. So for me, Ashwin bowled nicely. Jadeja bowled nicely, but I thought the pick of the bowlers for a 5-foot, because of the angles he used, he was very, very smart with his pace. For me, was Axar Patel. I thought he was absolutely magnificent. A negative note, I thought the two seamers for India were poor, well below par, nowhere near at the races. Looked as though they were short of a little bit of a gallop. They looked as though they were short of bowling. They needed a preparation. What their preparation was, I'm not exactly sure. But they looked as though they needed a few more overs under the belt. Given the wicket wasn't a great wicket to bowl seam on, but New Zealand now, for me, have bowled with 4 brand new cricket balls. One of them, they got given, they had to give up after 8 overs because it was out of shape. But all 4 of the brand new cricket balls have swung for New Zealand. And not one ball has swung for India throughout this test match of the 2 that they have bowled. So we've got a question coming in. Hi, Harmy. Really appreciate your insight. Well, thanks very much for that. Do you feel New Zealand should have played to their strengths and played Wagner instead of Patel or Somerville? This pitch isn't exactly a raging turner. Well, Harris, yes, I agree. I think on hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. Patel wasn't as economical as Somerville in the first innings. Somerville, for me, he bowled all right, but he didn't really challenge. And it's going to be interesting that come second innings that they're going to need the 2 bowlers to stand up. I personally would have gone with Neil Wagner. I think two spin bowlers. It's a bit like England. If you haven't got 2 spin bowlers, then don't pick 2 spin bowlers. Even if it is, you feel as though it's going to turn. Both sides played 3 spinners. I personally would have played Neil Wagner in this test match because I think he complements the way Jamieson, that fuller of length, Saudi, that fuller of length, and then you've got Wagner, who we would have seen just run up and bowl short on this surface. I think he would have been a little bit more challenging than a Somerville. Somerville held an end up, but I'm not sure he challenged that much. He held his own with the bat. He batted a long period of time, but his job is now to try and take wickets and put New Zealand in a position to win the game, which is obviously his job tomorrow. You look at when they came out to bat, New Zealand came out to bat. G. Paul says, what will New Zealand be thinking now for tomorrow? How much score will they be aiming to restrict India on? Well, that's the big conundrum I'll come on to now, G. Paul, because when Kyle Jamieson got the ball in his hand, I'm thinking, yes, if he gets this full swinging away, Saudi bowled a good over swinging away, he could really have a good go at the technique of the 2 Indian opening batsmen. Relatively inexperienced, not played a great deal of cricket, and definitely not fielded for 142.3 overs for a long period of time. And I think that was what the difference was with Shubman Gill. Bowl in a perfect area, bowl straight, challenge the inside edge in the subcontinent in the second innings, because obviously you want to be bowling stump to stump. And that's what Kyle Jamieson did. Shubman Gill not going to come forward to a bowler of that height. Got caught on the crease, and his feet work were of a man who has fielded for the best part of 2 days. So that was the sort of little boost and injection that New Zealand needed. Where do they go now, G. Paul? Well, I'm telling you what, there'll be some nervous characters for me inside that India dressing room, because they're trying to win the game. They're trying to set up the game and work out what a good scorer you don't want to leave New Zealand to get in the declaration, and giving themselves enough time to win the game. But there's also some players in there who are playing for their careers. I can think of 2 of them. One's at the crease at the moment, in Pujara, who was nearly out, could have been out a couple of times, Jameson, in that last 5 overs there, and Ajinkya Rahane, because the next series that comes down the line, you're going to have Rohit Sharma, you're going to have Virat Kohli, you're going to have KL Rahul, you're going to have Rishabh Pant coming back into the side. So there's going to be some selfishness, natural selfishness, on trying to score runs at their own pace, because they're playing for their livelihoods, they're playing for their careers. But also, you're going to have to try and buy yourself some time to take 20 wickets, to take another 10 wickets on this, in the 4th innings, to try and win the game. So what will India want? I'll probably be looking around about 300 to make themselves safe. And if they bat for 2.5 sessions tomorrow, when they are 63 runs in front, they'll be roughly 270, 280 in front, if they can do that. So if they do get that, I think that will be enough to win the test match with the spin bowling department that India have got. So all in all, we are looking forward to what is going to be another fantastic day's cricket tomorrow. If you've got this far, please like, subscribe, leave a review, and we'll see you same time tomorrow. Thanks for watching.